Hello everyone, my name is Benoit Knox. I'm the director at BK Publishing. I'm the founder of BK Publishing as well. I started BK Publishing when I was just 21 years old, expecting that publishing is going to be a really great adventure for me. And if anyone wants to come in, they're still welcome. I think we started early. But it is quite a challenge in a country like South Africa where we have a notoriously bad reading culture. In 2016, we had the PILS exam, which showed us to be one of the worst, actually the worst, the worst performing country in terms of reading ability. Our grade 4s that took part in that exam, 78% of them could not read for understanding, which means they couldn't actually answer a question based on the text that they'd read. So my goal is to change that, to change South Africa from a reading reluctant country to an actual reading country and a book buying country. And in order to do that, we started on a process of creating a children's magazine. The idea behind a magazine is that it's perfect for reluctant readers. There's a couple of different principles that we apply to our magazine. It's not the type of magazine that you get at the CNA or that you buy at Woolworths. This is a magazine that people subscribe to, that they use quite intensely at home and in their teaching at schools as well. So the first principle is a love for reading needs to start with delight. We can't expect children to just start reading books. Many children don't grow up in families that have books around them to start off with, and a lot of the books that are available are not always exactly suited to their needs and to their interests and to their abilities. So with the magazine, we're able to bridge that gap. We can make really beautifully illustrated spreads. We can choose a wide range of different topics and then create fun, short pieces of information that children can engage with. And when I talk about children, I talk about all children. My approach is that no matter where these kids are in South Africa, the majority of them are reluctant readers. Most children these days have got some access to a device. These devices are so extremely powerful. They use the children's psychology against them. They make the children addicted to the screen. It's not because the child is lazy. It's not because the child is not interested in reading. It's because the device knows how to keep you locked in. We know this as adults as well, because we've all death scrolled. We've all spent more time than we feel is comfortable on a device. And now we're hoping that our children are able to discern that themselves. And it's just not going to happen. So with a magazine, we create a safe space where they can actually just chill out, get away from a screen, and still read something which is just as intriguing as what they're seeing online. So yes, young people need variety. It's difficult for us as adults to go into a bookshop often or to go to the library often and get them the variety of books that they need. So with a magazine, something that comes out regularly, we get to explore. My team and I sit together and we have large debates about what should be in the next issue. And it's usually based on what would we find interesting? What do we find interesting as an adult? And how do we turn that into something that would be interesting as a child? How do we open their minds up to a variety of topics? Let's talk about something techie, let's talk about science, let's talk about the environment, but let's make it relevant to that child at that age, at the appropriate age level. Kids take themselves seriously. There's only 2 kids in this audience, but I'm quite sure that they take themselves very seriously. Their needs matter, their interests matter, their desires and wants matter, and they are extremely discerning when it comes to the content that they want to consume. If you give a child a tablet and you let them go and surf the internet or go to YouTube Kids and spend a few hours there, you'll very soon figure out that they're choosing the information that they want to consume. And that's why we have to take them seriously as a publication as well. We can't just come from our ivory towers as publishers and think, children should read this, children should read that, this is the way we should write this. We need to listen to them, and we also need to, so we have to take them just as seriously as we would any adult audience as well. So you'll find in our magazines, and I'd love you to have a look through them. Actually, it's a very small crowd, so I'm going to just pass them around if you'd like. If you'd like to. There you go. I'll pass them. Yeah, thanks. You'll see in every issue, we talk about important topics. We talk about ecology. We talk about how things are connected, how everything in the world, from an ant all the way to distant galaxies, are connected in some way. And the idea behind it is that even though we don't want to tell children what to think, we want to give them a bunch of really interesting things that they can think about themselves. So, and then create these links on their own. So we do take children very seriously. A magazine is low commitment reading. We all suffer with commitment issues when it comes to reading. We all know that if it takes or how much effort it takes as adults to pick up a book and commit to that book, because you know it's not going to be read in the next hour. This is going to be something that you're going to read over a few weeks. And now we're asking a child to do the same thing. They're going from children, from when they're very young, they're going from beautifully illustrated children's books that you can read in a quick sitting before bed, all the way to now we have to read text-heavy books with just black and white on a page. It's not as appealing, but we know that it's exciting. We know that reading a black and white book, you have pictures in your own mind. You are in charge of your own experience of that book. So with this magazine, we create a bridge for those children who are specifically around 8 years old, where they are starting to read comfortably on their own and confidently on their own, and the children of about 13 years old who are now being distracted by a bunch of different things in their life. So they have sports, they have homework, they have friends, they have all these things. When is there any time to read? So that's where children drop off. And if we lose them at that age, between 8 and 13 years old, the chances of getting that child to sit back down and read a book as a teenager are very, very low. So this magazine is designed for that age group to bridge that gap. A lot of work gets done for foundation phase reading. A lot of work gets done for adult literacy. Those are driven by parents. You know, the parents need to push their children to read at a very young age, and then as an adult, you want to do it yourself because you want to better your life. So, but then there's that young age group where people who write for that age group very often write for the kids who are already reading. And we're trying to attract the children who might already have stopped reading. So we provide a subscription service. For us, it's important to have a long engagement with the child. Even though as a publisher, I publish a lot of single issue books that can exist on their own, and I'm very passionate about creating books. The magazine is something that allows me to stay in contact with the child for many years of their life. And through that, they form trust They understand that we are going to be consistent, that they're going to get something exciting every time, that through a subscription they receive a magazine with their name on it. I mean, it's not something that's just bought in the shop and, okay, keep quiet, I'll buy you something. This is something that their parents committed to, which already shows them that, wow, this must be something of value if my parents decided to subscribe to it. And secondly, if I'm receiving it with my name, it's mine. It's absolutely mine. We love our homeschoolers because very often there'll be a bunch of children in the family and they all have, their magazine comes with all the children's names on the cover, so that they get very excited about that. It's very important that even though it's a children's magazine, and it's something that we aim at children between 8 and 13 years old, that the parents also read it. There's great content in there, and I can just out of my own experience, my father-in-law, who was 82 a few months ago, subscribes to the magazine and reads it because he enjoys it. There's fun stuff. You're going to learn about the great white shark and its adaptations and how important it is to the ecology of the ocean. You're going to learn about NFTs. You're going to learn about fracking. You're going to learn about a wide range of things. And then to show your children that you care and that you're a reading family, it's so important to still debate these things. Your children are reading it. You should show some interest in it as well and read together. And that goes for all types of reading. My daughter's now 7 years old, and we read every single night. I don't think there's a night in her entire life that she hasn't had a story read to her. And now she's starting to read on her own, which is fantastic. She knows that I value books. She knows that my wife values books, and that's one way of getting that culture into her. And finally, we as South Africa are we consume a lot of international content. Virtually everything that we consume on our phones is international. Virtually all the books that are available in the bookshops are from British and American publishing houses. South African publishers are very few. There's not that many of us. It's not a huge industry. But one thing that we all have in common, and there are quite a few of us here today, we all care very deeply about South Africans, South African children, and the future of South Africa. What we're doing is creating hope. We want children to read these things. We want families to buy our other books as well. And we want to show people that there is hope here, that there is something that we can all still do. And that everything that you do, especially through Supernova, we try and get that across, that everything that you do, even if you become an architect or a scientist or absolutely anything that you want to be one day, that you will have known, that you will have had some context which shows you how everything is connected, shows you that the things that you do have an impact on the environment and on your community, and that you can actually be part of building a future here. So it is a very, very short talk, and I could talk about literacy and literature for ages. You're welcome to come and visit us at the BK Publishing stand and see our books for foundation phase all the way to high school and for adults. So, and if you have any questions, you're more than welcome.